What's up guys, I'm randomfrankp. Today we're going to be talking about handhelds in 2018, going over 3 ones in particular that kind of, had their rise and fall, talking about them, why they failed, and why I still love them, as well as checking out some things with the new Switch and just really how the whole market and the landscape of handhelds has changed over the past few years. So first up, we're going to be talking about the PSP Go, which is still one of my personal favorites that a lot of you don't even probably know about. Then it's going to be the PlayStation Vita, which is kind of more relevant now than it was when it first launched, oddly enough. And then obviously the one that everyone knows and adores, the newer Nintendo Switch. So going over all 3, checking them out, and why I still love them. So first up is the PSP Go. This was released in October of 2009 and didn't even make it 2 years before it was discontinued in April of 2011. And before we talk about why I still love this thing, let's address the issues of why it failed. First and foremost, this was actually one of the first handhelds that was strictly digital, meaning there were no physical games or discs that you could buy. Now today this is obviously more the norm, but in 2009 people were not having it, they wanted their discs. This is also coming off the release of one of the most popular handhelds ever, the original PSP for Sony, and people were just not willing to make the switch. On top of that, additional memory cards to store these digital games were expensive, and the game library wasn't really impressive, so barely 2 years on the market before this was done. However, I do love this thing. First, it's easily pocketable because it resembles the size of a smaller phone, and it flips up to reveal all the controls. You still have all your usual triggers and controls that you'd find in a normal handheld, and I really like how it's designed. Now, while I'm more someone who likes to push tech to its limits, the one thing that's awesome about this is emulators. Modding the PSP Go is very simple, and from here you can load on any game from their library, even things like Game Boy, N64. You all know I'm reliving my childhood playing some games like the old Pokemon games again, which is still odd seeing on something branded Sony, but you can do it. You just plug it into your PC, download the ROM, and you're set. Now while this isn't the most powerful thing, obviously, some games are kind of hit or miss for performance, and a few of the older N64 titles I tried to play were buggy, but it's just the idea of this thing that I love so much. Sure, you can run emulators on Android, but that's not the point. This is a dedicated handheld that makes loading up games easy, it's compact, and it's always been one of my personal favorites despite it selling so poorly from Sony. Today you can find these used on Amazon for around 120 bucks, and eBay has people selling these, with their modded ones for around 150 I found. So I've been loving the Go since I first got it, and it's just really unique. It's a special place in my heart. Next up, we have the Vita. We're talking about this thing, and like I said before, probably more popular now than when it first launched a few years ago. Definitely had a bumpy start because when this launched, it was such an odd place in the whole handheld market. So this was released in February of 2012 in the US, which is like right when smartphones were getting bigger and better, mobile gaming was on the rise, and this just really couldn't do anything that your smartphone couldn't already do. But to Sony's credit, this was a lot more ergonomic now. It had a nice 5-inch OLED screen, which is touchscreen. The entire back of the Vita is also touchscreen, and they brought back, buying physical games where you can put in an SD card essentially and build that physical library that people missed. But again, it just launched at a bad time with smartphone gaming, and the PS4 was just over a year away from being released, so this kind of got brushed under the rug. So now one of my favorite things to do with this is use it along with the PS4 using the PS4 Link. Some games allow you to use this as like an actual controller and use the screen on here for something like your inventory or a map, but I use it with Remote Play, which lets me stream my PS4 to the Vita over Wi-Fi, so I can kick back on the couch in the living room or something and play the PS4, but just on my Vita. And I took advantage of this by bringing this with me 1,500 miles away to Mexico, allowing me to play my PS4 from there. And that includes all the digital games that I have on the console, as well as the game that's inside the actual console itself. Access it all and play it from wherever you are via Wi-Fi. And following up with that, you can use your Vita to wake your PS4 remotely. You can literally be anywhere in the world and still access it. Unfortunately, a very small number of publishers like Bandai do restrict their games from this, so I couldn't play Gundam Breaker in Mexico, which I've been addicted to lately, but still, it's just really cool this is all possible. And then with the PlayStation Store, you have an internet browser on the Vita. You can get apps like Twitch and Netflix, but what's really cool is you can go back and download thousands of available titles ranging all the way back to the original PlayStation classics. Loading up some Twisted Metal brought me way back right away, and having similar games in those early console years is just really cool to see still supported on this. Same applies for Star Wars Battlefront 2, like the actual good one from back in the day. Booting that up and having fun definitely puts a smile on my face. Granted, there's actually a lot of Vita titles available for you to download. I still tend to use this as like a nostalgia machine, or like I said, use this alongside my PS4, which is still such an awesome feature. Today you can buy the Vita in a ton of different colors from Amazon, or eBay typically has them for around $150 used. And you fast forward to today for modern handheld gaming, and you have the Nintendo Switch, which just from day one absolutely blew their sales predictions out of the water. And the one thing that I could really pinpoint the success of this on it's kind of like a handheld and a console hybrid. It's just really unique and really versatile. And it's really different from any handheld that's been released in the past. You couple that with the instant fan favorite games like, Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart 8, Skyrim. Having all these titles to play is even cooler. You can hook it up to your massive TV or just take it with you out on the go. I know for me, when traveling, this is an absolute lifesaver. But just everything about the Switch makes gaming more intuitive. It's got a touchscreen, the Joy-Cons here are removable, you can use a dedicated controller with this, dock this and hook it up in your living room. It's such a unique product that helps bridge the gap from all those awkward years of handhelds not really selling too well, and developing this more into like a handheld console. Now the Switch is the state of handhelds in 2018. I think it's going to encourage more innovation, encourage a lot more companies to take this style and go forward with this type of success in mind. Will Sony put out another handheld in the future? Who knows, but they've had their success in the past and now it's Nintendo in the limelight again, making gaming more enjoyable for everyone, everywhere. Yes, they've had their success with the 3DS, stuff like that, but this is different. A Game Boy was my first memory of gaming back in the early 90s, and Nintendo is still making it enjoyable today. I just love everything the Switch can do. It is like a perfect, handheld for modern gaming. And even down to customization. I've talked about it in the past, but I still get comments all the time about the skins on here. And yes, you guessed it, they're from dbrand. They re-released their Switch skins last month, so you can customize the colors, pick different textures, and they all align perfectly on the Joy-Cons. The Switch itself lines it perfectly on the back with all the cutouts. Even with the docks, you can have this one cohesive unit customized to your liking. I'll put the store link down below for you guys. You can check it out, customize the color of your Switch as well as your smartphones, whatever you want. So hope you guys enjoyed this video on, revisiting 3 very different handhelds, talking about some of them with the rise and fall and why they're so popular and why I love them. Going from the PSP Go, you put it in your pocket, be on your way, have thousands of ROMs there right with you, to the Vita, which is still cool now, I think. Use it with your PS4, which is a really cool feature. Then obviously the Switch, which is just nailing handhelds in 2018, making everything just really enjoyable and, innovative for the future. So hope you liked this video. If you're interested in any of the handhelds I showed off, I will put links for you in the description down below so you can check it out. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up to show your support. Feel free to follow me on Twitter at randomfrankp. And last, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Well, I'm Random Frank P. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good day.